What's going on everyone? This is Gaurav and welcome to my learning channel. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how to impress your boss and how to get good ratings in your work. I'm pretty sure that this is one of the topics that must have crossed your mind if you have worked in any of the organization. Now this video is good for people who are early to mid in their career. However, even if you have significant amount of experience, let's say 10, 15, 20 years of experience, please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Have you ever wondered that how come some people keep on getting good ratings or promotions or bonuses year after year, even though they're not the best when it comes to the technical skills or the number of projects delivered or the number of hours that they have put into the projects? I'm sure that you must have seen a few cases like this. Now, whenever something like this happens, the first thought that comes to our mind is that maybe this person got lucky this year, or maybe this person is pretty good when it comes to the office politics. They know how to manage the leadership, they know how to manage their bosses. And what if I tell you that while there could be some truth to above factors, there are a lot of things that you can influence to push the so-called luck in your favor. In order to understand what your leadership wants, first of all, you will have to put yourself in their shoes. You will have to see what their day looks like. What are some of their key pain points? What are the things that you can do to make their life easier and help them achieve their goals? If you're a team leader, here are some of the key qualities that you might want to see in your team. The first one is ownership of the process or the projects. So let's try to understand this with a simple scenario. Let's say that you're working on a project and you encounter a problem. You find out that there is some opportunity that exists in the process, which is not only going to impact the entire project, but it could potentially impact the organization as well. So at that point in time, you have two options. Option number one, you can go ahead and update the leadership and you can tell them that, look, this is the new opportunity or the problem that I have figured out in the process. And that's pretty much it. Now, the problem with this approach is that if you do it over a period of time, then think of it from your leadership perspective. What is the image of yourself that you're projecting? You're projecting yourself as a person who's pretty good in terms of finding out the problems in the process, or who's good in terms of finding out the opportunities, but that's about it. The better strategy for the update is to kind of divide the whole update in three main sections. The first one, which you're pretty good at, is to find out the problem or the opportunity itself. Second one is what are some of the probable solution? What are the pros and cons of each one of these solutions? How much time will it take to kind of go for each one of these solutioning? And third one is, what is your recommendation? What do you think that we should do at this point in time? And maybe when you're updating your leadership with all of this, volunteer for the solution. Tell them that, well, this is what the opportunity is. These are some of the things that I can do. And I would like to take a lead to solve this particular problem. So now you're projecting yourself as a person who is not only good at finding out the opportunities, but is also pretty good in terms of the solutioning as well. And you are also very proactive and taking a lead in terms of the solutioning. Now, these are some of the key qualities of becoming a good leader. Next key skill is know the difference between visible work and hard work. So take my word when I say this. Just the way that you are looking for the next big opportunities or the next most visible project, your immediate leader is probably also thinking in the same lines if they are progressive leader. And if that being the case, they are actually looking for the next big opportunities that they can showcase it to their leader. So if you want to grow in any of the organization, you have to help your leader so that they can come up with the new ideas or the new projects or the new solution that is going to project them and their team in a very positive light. Now, how to find out such projects? Now, take a look at your overall goal for the organization. Now, one of the key goals for most of the organization is to increase the overall profitability. Now, profit is basically your revenue minus cost. So any of the projects that you are working on, if it is working towards increasing the profitability of the organization over a long period of time, then it has to either work towards either increasing the overall business or reducing the cost. So any of the new idea or the new opportunity or the existing set of the projects that you're working on, if it does fit into this framework, if it is either working towards increasing the overall business or reducing the overall cost, then you are on the right track. However, if you take a look at your day-to-day and if you take a look at your projects that you're working on, and if it does not fit into any of these criteria, if it is not going to work towards reducing the overall cost or increasing the overall business, then probably this is the right time that you should have a conversation with your leader. You should actually talk to your leader and you should ask for some of the additional opportunities so that you can fit into one of these two key criteria. But while doing so, do not forget the rule number one, which is whenever you're going with a problem, whenever you are asking for something, always come up with the solution as well. So whenever you're asking for the new set of projects or the new opportunities, do come up with a new set of ideas that you could potentially be working on, or the entire team could potentially be working on. And at that point in time, volunteer for one of the few ideas that you think is going to be the biggest bang for the buck. Now, I'm not saying that each and every project, even after this, that you're going to work on is going to be the next big thing or the next most visible project. What I'm saying is that if you consistently keep on trying, then you will find yourself in the spot, so that more often than not, you will be in the spotlight, which is what really matters. Third key thing to note is that you're constantly being judged. Now, this is one of the common mistakes that I have seen so many people making so many times, which is thinking that the opinion of your leaders or the senior leaders are the only thing that matters. We oftentimes think that as long as we are in their positive lights, we are good to go, we are in a positive or good place. Now, I'm not saying that that is incorrect. But the problem is that you cannot ignore the opinion of others. Every time that you have any kind of a negative interaction with anyone, there is a potential that they are going to give your feedback to your leaders or your senior leadership behind your back. And this does happen more often than you think. So for all practical purposes, every time that you're interacting with someone, just treat it as an interview. Just treat as if every word that is going to be coming out of your mouth is going to be judged by that person. You should always keep one thing in your mind. At a workplace, you don't have any friends. You don't have anyone whose opinion does not matter. Workplace is a combination of all of the people who have come together to solve a particular business problem. And oftentimes they are competing with each other. So always keep in your mind that every word which is coming out of your mouth could be perceived in a positive or a negative way. So you're better off just collecting more of the positive feedbacks as compared to the negative feedbacks. At the end of the day, what ends up happening is that whenever your senior leadership is deciding that who is going to get the next promotion or who is going to get the top bonus, they're not even going to consider the person who have had a lot of negative feedbacks. So that's why you're always better off just being in a place that where you don't have any negative feedbacks. At least if you cannot gather too many positive feedbacks, that is probably fine, but at least make sure that you don't piss off a whole lot of people. Next key skill is to work as a team. Now, whenever you're working in a team settings, it is really important that you bring everyone on the journey. Now, especially for the tenured team member, I have seen that few people make this mistake that they will try to drive the project themselves and they will not bring everyone on the journey, especially the new joinees. They will think that these new joinees are only going to slow down the entire project, so might as well just go ahead and complete the entire thing myself. This is a very big mistake, because think of it from your leadership perspective. Whenever a leader is assigning a project to you or to your entire team, they're thinking that entire team is going to work as one complete unit. And let's say 5 people are working on a particular project, the entire project is going to be finished in XYZ number of days. Now, if entire team is not working as a complete unit, then your leader will have to get involved and they will have to bring that cohesion which is missing. Now, this is going to backfire for everyone, because now your leader is thinking that you guys are not a team players and they have to constantly get involved to bring everyone together. So if you're working in a team and if you're a tenured member, do make sure that you're putting special effort to make sure that everyone is working together. And if they are not, you need to make sure that you understand what is the problem and you need to actively work towards solving some of those problems. And take my words, this is never going to backfire. Your new team members that you are going to spend time training, they're not going to replace you, but rather you will project yourself as a person who could be a next potential leader and will definitely be positioned in a very positive lights, and people will praise you for the commendable job of the leadership skills that you have showcased. And last but not the least, try to create a brand for yourself. Now, this has 3 key components. First one is try to be a subject matter expert for whatever you are working on. I always recommend people to have a T-shaped skills, which means you should have a breadth of information, but there are few things that you should have like a really in-depth information. And these are some of the key things which should be a backbone of the projects that you're working on. Whenever that happens, then people will always treat you as someone who knows their stuff, as someone who's a subject matter expert, and I can reach out to that person if at all I have any questions in that particular area. Second one is being very approachable. Make sure that people feel comfortable approaching you. Now, let's say if somebody reaches out to you and you're very busy and you don't have time to give to them at that point in time, it's totally fine to say no. However, there is a way. You should be very polite and you should ask for their permission and just ask them that, hey, can I reach out to you a little later on? And make sure that you do follow up. Make sure that you're actively working towards solving some of the other people's problem as much as you can. This is going to help you increase your overall network, and always remember that your network is your net worth. So always work actively towards increasing your overall network. And the third one is being excellent in communication. Now, communication is a complex topic which probably requires time in itself to understand what all things that we should consider whenever we are interacting with someone. However, one of the key rule of thumb that you should always remember whenever you are talking to someone or whenever you are giving answer to any of the questions that anyone might have asked you, always look at these problems from their perspective. First of all, just always try to understand what are some of the key things that they might be looking at and respond accordingly. So say for instance, let's say if you have worked on a new data science project and you come up with a new model which you think that is going to increase the overall accuracy of the process, and you're trying to explain that model to your marketing team, always try to highlight things that what is going to be the overall business impact of this particular model. And at that point in time, you don't have to focus on how did you optimize the hyperparameters or what are some of the key techniques that you used, but rather try to focus on the business aspect of it. While on the other hand, if you're talking about the same model to your technology team, then try to focus on things that how can you implement this model, how can you implement it in the production environment so that the overall SLA for the execution of this model is not as high. So in summary, try to put yourself in the shoes of the person that you are interacting with. Try to look at the problem from their perspective and then respond accordingly. Hopefully you find a content like this helpful. If so, I would request you to like and subscribe my channel. This is definitely going to help me and the channel a lot. And I wish you best of luck in your journey. If you have any questions or if you have any response, please do not hesitate to put it in the comment section. Thank you so much and I wish you best of the luck.